Diazee here. Thanks so much for joining to watch the 20th episode of this sketchbook series. Winter's here. There are only a few days left in the year. Where is all the snow? I'm in upstate New York, so we'll probably get some snowy days in the coming months. One year while living here, I experienced a snow and ice storm that caused the power in town to go out. It was out for a few days and it was cold. Lots of blankets and layers of socks. Electric heating and electric oven were out. One of the most memorable moments from that time was seeing the grass, the trees all covered in ice, like they were coated with glass, wintry gems. Here's a little bit about this sketchbook project. I have a moleskin watercolor art album sketchbook that I have been using all year to make entries in. I posted a poll on Instagram almost every week with prompts for sketchbook pages. For example, one week I asked whether you want to see a landscape versus a still life, and the prompt that won by the most votes I would then sketch, draw, paint in my sketchbook. Last week, I did something different from a poll to influence my next few sketchbook pages. These are the last sketchbook pages, and as the year ends, so does drawing and painting in this one. Speaking of the sketchbook, and since it will be time for a new one soon, I will probably do a review of the one I'm finishing up with. If you have any recommendations for sketchbooks that are multi-purpose and nice for watercolors, please share in the comments. It would be much appreciated. Back to the sketchbook project. Last week, I simply asked what you wanted me to paint in the last few pages, and that I wanted it to be special. Thank you to everyone who submitted a prompt. You're gutsy and I love it. The first prompt that is going to hit the floor is from a dear friend. Do a collage incorporating different themes, colors, textures from previous pieces. Thank you for sharing your prompt, my friend. I love this idea so much, like an ode to the year. My take on this is to create a scene in surreal nature, the places between our waking reality and our consciousness in the dream world. A landscape with tree people, a sky crammed with stars, the moon, and a fire. If you're enjoying this video, tap that like button, subscribe to my channel, let me know you're still here, and say hello. Tell us where you're at or drop your favorite color. Or all three if you so wish to desire. My go-to watercolor paints are Kuretake Gansei Tambi, and I also use Faber-Castell's metallic oil pastels, and I also work with colored pencils and ink. When I do watercolor washes, I like to leave a lot of the background exposed to show off the beautiful gradient in colors, but in this case, I decided to stuff the sky with matte white stars. I love to draw in little stars when finishing up a piece. Not usually in this much abundance though. It feels like sparkly finishing touches. Usually my pieces have a sparse low number, unlike this piece. Since this is a play on a collage that reflects the year's work, I wanted to put all the imagined stars from a collection of the paintings I did this year, full and lush. The pattern of the sky, the detail of the trees, the colorful foliage seen up close. These elements of the marks on paper were made in a meditative state. Over the year, I have become more patient in my artwork, thinking about energy and vibrancy in my artistic subjects, giving life something tangible to reflect an idea from, a message, a poem, a moment. Look within its time and place to whomever it reaches. Within its time and place to whomever it reaches. I work with traditional mediums. I use pencil and paper to give my artwork structure and then go in with watercolor background to allow the whole paper rich color, which is intended to please the onlooker. I also believe and support that physical visual art holds much power in being unique and handmade pieces with hand, mind, tools, and eye, and body, and soul, and hopefully with some good music, good smells, good tea, and some dancing breaks. Either way, I see value in tangible art. Hopefully some of my works will inspire you and invite you. My artworks are for sale on my website, link in description. Take a look, there might just be something for you. I will be thrilled. I think that sums up most of my work for the year, mostly tree people and miniature tree portraits. I'm preparing to upload the Thnxx series and do a series video on the Thnxx series soon. It is this year's miniature tree portrait project, aside from the other trees I painted outside of the series earlier in the year. Those have been waiting patiently to find their person. Yes, there will be a link in the video description to those as well. Have a look, let me know what you think. Perhaps you buy made with love handmade gifts made by me. How can you go wrong with whimsical trees, my friend? This sketchbook page is supposed to be a mix of what happened with my art over the year. Thinking back on the year, I feel I have been defining my artistic style more and coming to practice specific minute techniques with pieces outside my sketchbook. Because I know I have to share with you every week, I plan to have something good to share. I love trying out new things that you want to see from me, and I feel this practice makes me more confident in knowing that what I want to do with my bigger pieces of artwork, outside the playful and sacred place of a sketchbook. There are 2 to 3 figures in this drawing. To the right, a person on their side struggling while they have a tree growing out of their back, and their whole being, including the tree, are roaring in fire. To the left, a person sitting on the ground with eyes on their buttocks, and a bush growing out of their back. And thirdly, the moon, whose face is not visible in this scene. What I intend when you arrive at body of recent works is to feel mental serenity. Just enjoy the forms and colors, the good vibes from the welcoming patterns, energizing colors, and peaceful and friendly figures. It's okay to take time to rest, and there are many forms of rest one can strive to experience. Let there be more to come of these tree creatures and these colorful worlds. Is this technically a vlog, darlings? I really hope you enjoyed this time with me. I certainly appreciate you. Thanks for visiting me. Until next time, darling. Mwah, mwah.